Hello, hello. I am so excited for today's episode of the Business of Therapy podcast. So, this episode is for the therapists that have already decided to start an Instagram page, right? Maybe you've already started posting content, but you are not yet getting the results that you are looking for. Maybe your following is barely growing. Maybe you're stuck in 200 view jail and no one seems to be watching your reels. And despite putting in work and effort to your Instagram page, you haven't gotten a single client from Instagram yet. Trust me, I have been there myself. I know how much of this sucks, and I want to help you make it to the other side. So, if you're looking around at all of these other therapists who seem to be doing better than you, wondering why is everyone else growing on Instagram and I'm not, today's episode is for you. So, I'm going to share the top 6 reasons why I see therapists not growing on Instagram and what you can do about them. And I just want to say before we jump into these top 6 reasons that I have been there and I get it. And if you are in this position, that does not mean that you will be stuck here forever. So you may have heard me share this before, but when I started my Instagram page, it took me 3 entire months of posting every single day to get 1,000 followers and to get my first client from Instagram. So that was 90 posts that I made before I started getting the results that I wanted to see. And I think that this is just really important to kind of level set and to be really clear that this doesn't mean that you're necessarily doing something wrong or that you'll never succeed in Instagram, but you probably do need to shift some things to get different results. And so that is what I'm hoping to show you today and help guide you. So let's get into it. Reason number 1 why I see therapists not growing on Instagram is that you are making unfair comparisons, right? So maybe you are comparing your day 1 to somebody else's day 700, right? It is really, really important that if you are in the beginning of your Instagram journey, that you are not comparing your growth to other people who have been doing this for months or years. It is just going to be different when you are brand new at something. Your growth is going to be slower. You're going to be less good at content. The algorithm's going to understand, what you're posting and stuff way less. And as time goes on, as you put in more practice, it does get easier and easier. You might also be making unfair comparisons if you're just looking at somebody else's growth without actually taking into account how often they're posting, right? So if somebody has more capacity to post than you do and they're posting more frequently, they're probably going to see faster growth in terms of time, right? But I think it is really helpful if you are going to do the comparison game, which I honestly don't suggest doing, but to at least compare people who are posting as frequently as you and seeing, are you guys growing at a similar rate? The next thing that I think is really important in terms of making unfair comparisons is kind of not comparing yourself to the exception, right? So that Instagram guru who's like, I grew my following to 100,000 followers in 3 months is the exception, not the norm, right? That is really, really atypical results for someone to grow 100,000 followers in 3 months. And, I wish that I could have those results. That would be amazing. But that just hasn't been the case for me, right? It has taken slow, steady effort over the course of a year, 2 years, 3 years to grow a big Instagram following. And so I think that that's really important to kind of level set of just what's realistic, what's reasonable, what's within your control, and comparing yourself to that. So I do think that it is very reasonable to want to grow 10,000 followers in a year, right? I wouldn't expect to grow 10,000 followers in a month, but I think 10,000 followers in a year is totally reasonable if you are able to commit to posting and showing up. It's something I have seen literally hundreds of therapists do, but that 100,000 followers in a few months is not going to happen. The 10,000 followers in a few months, probably not going to happen, right? Those people are getting super, super lucky. And so please do not make yourself wrong if you are not getting those same results. So the takeaway that I want you to have from this first point of making unfair comparisons is to have patience and to give yourself grace, right? As time goes on, as you post more frequently, as you just have more time put into Instagram, things are going to continue to grow and they're going to get better. So please have the patience and please keep showing up in the meantime. The second reason why I see therapists not growing on Instagram is that they're not really saying anything. So what do I mean by this? First, maybe your content is too vague, right? You're saying stuff that people could easily Google or they have seen a zillion times before. It's just sort of typical bland mental health content. Now, the solution here is that you really need to niche down and get way more specific in your messaging. So, I would really encourage you to think about, like, how do my clients describe this problem? How do my clients describe these symptoms? How do my clients describe the thoughts that are keeping them up at night, or the desires, or the ways they're not feeling good enough? And share that in your content, right? Give specific examples, and it is just going to bring your content to life, right? Speak directly to one person. So that means we're not just doing vague mental health content, we're doing content for, you know, adult millennial woman whose parents were emotionally immature, right? Like, we need to be that specific in our content. And that doesn't mean that you need to like say all those key buzzwords every time you post, but you should be thinking about that same one person and providing those really concrete examples in your content, and really really giving them, really your goal is to help them feel seen, right? So all of my best reels that have gotten like super, super viral, people literally comment like, Instagram shouldn't be allowed to put cameras in my home, right? Or, damn, I didn't know you were gonna call me out like that. Like, you want people to feel like this is specifically for them. And if you can do that, your content is going to do so much better. So the takeaway here is to really, really spend time niching down and getting clear on your messaging. This is something that we spend the most time doing inside of my VIP community for Private Practice Academy alumni, right? So we have these twice monthly calls, and I would say like 80% of the call, honestly, is us going through different people's niches, looking at their bio, talking through their messaging, and making it sure that it is super clear that anyone who sees your reel already understands exactly who you are and whether or not your content is for them. And then the thousands of people who are viewing your reel and coming to your profile are able to see from your bio, from your other pinned content, that yes, you are for them and they should stick around and follow. And if you can do that, if you can have that clarity in the content that you're putting out, match the clarity that is in your bio, you are going to get so many more views, you're going to get so many more followers, and you are going to get so many more people taking that next step and booking an intro call with you so that way they can be on your caseload. The third reason why I see therapists not growing on Instagram is that you are not posting consistently enough to get good at creating content. Now, I say this with so much love, but creating content is not something that we were all taught to do. I'm not going to say it's hard because it's really not complicated, but it's not something that comes naturally to most people, right? It takes time to feel comfortable showing up in front of the camera. It takes time to get good at using your voice. It takes time to, figure out that if I stand in front of my window, then I have better camera quality, right? You need to kind of put in that time and put in those reps to get better at creating content. Because the fact of the matter is that most people are going to be really awkward in the beginning. I know that I certainly was, right? And it takes that time and practice to get comfortable, to be less stiff, to be more magnetic. And that is really just going to pay off so, so, so much. Also, just like the more that you post, the more that you will start to learn about yourself and about content, right? So maybe you realize after you post, oh shoot, I should have put my text there. I see that I got caught up by the caption. Then you know next time, okay, I know where to put my text in the reel, right? I always do inside of the Reels membership, the third prompt of the week is kind of a multi-part acting reel. And these take a little bit more patience with editing. But the first time you do it, maybe the editing isn't so good. Your text doesn't line up exactly right. But the more that you practice, the faster that you get at it and the more like professional your edits become. And so it's really, really important to be posting consistently enough to actually get good at creating content, because the more effort that you put in, the easier it's going to become and the better your content is going to be. So the takeaway here is I really want you to make a plan to be consistent, right? Set aside time 1 day a week and batch your content. make a goal for yourself. If you can show up daily, I think that that is amazing, especially when you're first getting started. But if you can only show up 4, 5, 6 times a week, that's okay. It just might take you a little bit longer to grow, but make that goal for yourself and stick to it. Plan your content in advance. There's a whole content calendar to walk you through that inside of the Private Practice Academy bundle. But create your plan for your content, set aside time 1 day a week, batch it, and do it again and again, week after week on repeat. And you will see with every week that you get faster, that your content gets better, your engagement gets higher, and your following grows when you are actually giving yourself enough opportunities to be consistent and to get good at creating content. Now, the fourth reason why I see therapists not growing on Instagram is that you are not giving yourself enough opportunities to go viral. Now, let's be honest, some of going viral is luck, right? I just want to say that, and be super transparent. Some of it is luck, but it is not win the lottery kind of luck, right? It is not something impossible that only happens to a lucky few. It's like finding your favorite pair of jeans kind of luck, right? So I'm tall. I don't know if you can tell on Instagram, but I'm 5'11", and I have to try on like 20 pairs of jeans from different stores in different sizes, in different fits in order to find a pair that I love. If I just take 2 pairs of jeans with me to the dressing room, I'm probably not going to leave with anything because they're just not going to work for me. I have to keep going, right? I have to take multiple pairs in multiple styles and try them on. And that's kind of how I'm able to find jeans that I love for my body. Now, some people get lucky, sometimes I get lucky, and the first pair of jeans that I take with me to the fitting room fit great. And other times it is the last pair that you try on, right? And so I think that that is so helpful, just recognizing that you need to shoot your shot enough times in order to have, to play your cards enough in order to go viral. And that is so, so, so helpful of just giving yourself enough opportunities to go viral. And once you go viral too, it is going to be so much easier to do it again and again, because then you figured out the formula, right? And it's different for everybody's page, but then you know the messaging that works, the style that works, what length of video works for you, for your page, for your people. And so then you can just rinse and repeat it and recreate that same theme once a month or something, just again and again and again, and continue to build your following and your caseload in that way. So make sure that you are giving yourself enough opportunities to go viral. If you are not, then the takeaway here is that you need to post more, right? Not forever. You don't need to post more forever. But in the beginning, yes, you definitely should be posting more. So you've probably heard me say this like a zillion times, but when I first started my Sit with Kelly Instagram page, I posted every single day for an entire year. And that's how I grew to 10,000 followers my first year. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that, but posting every day will certainly make your growth go faster. And then once your page is established, you have, a community of fans who really love your content, who are sharing it with their friends all the time, then you can decrease posting a lot, right? So I'm still growing way faster than 10,000 followers a year now, but I only post 3 or 4 times a week. And that's because my page is established. I've gotten into the groove of things. I know what kind of content will go viral, and I can rinse and repeat it and do it again and again. So I really want you to be honest with yourself and think about how much you can really commit to this. Both because the consistency is super important, right? Both in terms of allowing yourself to get better at creating content and giving yourself enough time and opportunities to practice and get better. And then also enough times of playing the hand to eventually get lucky and go viral. Now, the fifth reason why I see therapists not growing on Instagram is that you're not truly putting yourself out there. Now, I think a lot of people expect for this to be so easy, and it's just not going to be, right? Anything worth having doesn't come easy. And I think that there's a lot of Instagram gurus who are doing you a disservice, who are just sharing reels I started my Instagram page a month ago and I've already earned $1 zillion and I just post 1 7-second reel a day and then I spend the rest of the time with my kids and this is an amazing way to make money. And that is just not the case, right? I want you to be realistic with yourself that it's going to take some time and effort to get exceptional results. And of course, I try and do absolutely everything that I can to make it easier for you. So for example, inside of my Reels membership, I tell you exactly what to post. Every single Monday, I give you 4 or 5 Reels ideas. I give you the sound. I give you a fill in the blank script. I give you the audio. I give you filming instructions, examples, all of it. But at the end of the day, you're still the one who has to go and execute and implement on that. And the truth is that building a business takes hard work, it takes time, and it takes effort. And it really takes you putting yourself out there and showing up fully in order to make that happen. So, one thing that I love to do in order to put myself out there is experiment, right? I think that that is so huge. So, some ways that you might consider experimenting is doing a collab post or collab reel with another therapist who has a similar niche or another helping professional, right? So maybe with a dietitian or a nurse practitioner or a fitness trainer or something like that, a doula. Another way you can experiment is by trying new content ideas or new content styles. You can go live. I think that that's a great way to nurture your audience. Sharing bits of yourself, like your personal life and social, I think that that's a really great thing to do, especially in Instagram stories, can just help to kind of build that connection and that trust. You can network, right? Make friends on Instagram, connect with other professionals here. And that is going to make Instagram so much more fun to have more people cheering you on. And it really does help your engagement, by the way. Other ways that you can experiment and really put yourself out there is running ads. This is something that I teach you how to do. I give you like a template and everything step by step inside of the Private Practice Academy bundle, but that can feel really scary, right? Same with like selling in stories. That's another way to put yourself out there and really go for your goals. But I think that it is really helpful to actually stop and think about, have I tried everything if you are frustrated with your growth? Or is there something else that you can try? Is there another way that you can put yourself out there and see if this can help you nurture your audience and convert some of those people into therapy clients? So the takeaway here is I really want you to commit to going all in on this for at least 6 months and really putting yourself out there and giving it your all. And so try something new, right? If you haven't done a collab, if you haven't gone live, if you haven't networked, if you haven't run ads, if you haven't tried to sell your intro calls and stories, do some of that and put yourself out there. Now the sixth one, this one is honestly the hardest one, but I really wanted to share this question with you today because I have seen every time I've posed this question to a coaching client that I've worked with, it has had profound impacts on how they've shown up online. So I really want you to ask yourself, would you follow yourself? Would you watch your content and binge it? Be honest with yourself here and give yourself a reality check. And if not, then that's okay. That means that there is a ton of work for us to do, and there's a ton of opportunity for us to change and do things different. So if you find that your answer is no, I don't think I would follow myself, I'm kind of bored with my content, I want you to study your own behavior. Right? So the next time that you are on your couch and you are scrolling Instagram instead of starting your favorite show, I want you to go backwards and retrace your steps and see, how did you get here? Right? What about like a particular piece of content drew you in? What made you decide to go down a rabbit hole and watch all this creators' reels and go to the next person and the next and the next and the next? And if you are able to go back and study yourself and see, what about this did I like? What about this made me feel seen? What about this made me interested in their content? Then we can start to replicate that and bring some of that into your own content creation. So evaluate yourself honestly and see where you can do better and commit to learning how to do that. Of course, I'm happy to teach you how to do that. I'm happy to help speed things up and help you come up with better ideas inside of the Reels membership, or get clarity on your niche inside of the Private Practice Academy bundle, or teach you how to create higher quality content, how to edit better inside of the Private Practice Academy bundle. You don't need to do this alone. You can if you want to, but I'm very happy to help you. And I think that it is just really important to kind of have that honesty with yourself and think about, like, do your results make sense based off of the content that you're putting out there? And if yes, then how can you commit to learning how to create better content? So before I wrap up today, I just want to acknowledge how tough this can feel. And I get that it is super overwhelming, right? I know that it is hard to show up and to put yourself out there on Instagram. I know it's super frustrating to be putting time and effort in and not getting results yet. I know that, every time we choose to work on our business or Instagram, that's time that we are choosing not to be with your family, with your kids, vacationing, going to the gym, doing whatever it is that lights you up outside of work. And so I just want to really acknowledge that and say that this isn't a time to make yourself wrong, right? If you are doing any of these 6 things, that's okay. I have literally done every single one of these mistakes myself, but it is a time to get honest with yourself and to commit to really building your business with Instagram. It's not easy, right? It's not, but I promise it will be so, so, so worth it. I hope that I can be living, breathing testimonial of that. If not, feel free to ask any therapist in my programs and they will tell you how much possibility is waiting for you on the other side of learning how to do this whole Instagram thing. So I will be with you every single step of the way. Let's recap with the 6 reasons that I see most therapists not growing on Instagram. 1, you're making unfair comparisons and you are not being realistic with the time, effort, and frequency that it takes in order to get the results that you want. So have a little bit more patience with yourself. Number 2, you're not saying anything, right? So be a little bit more specific here, niche down, push yourself to get more clarity on your messaging and to really say something that is going to resonate with your people. 3, you're not posting consistently enough to get good at creating content. Commit to practicing, putting in the reps, and getting better with time, practice, energy, and effort. Number 4, not giving yourself enough opportunities to go viral. There is a little bit of luck here. You do need to keep playing your hand, and the more that you play it, the higher chances are that you will go viral sooner rather than later. So if you want to go viral more, post more frequently, and that is way more likely to happen. Number 5, you're not truly putting yourself out there. Are there features of Instagram that you're not using? Are there ways that you're not showing up and being yourself? Are there opportunities that you're not giving yourself to collab with other people or to go live or to talk about how people can work with you in your Instagram stories that really might have a big impact on your business? And then 6, be brutally honest with yourself and ask the question, would you follow you? Would your Instagram content make you want to hire yourself as a therapist? And if not, where can we take, radical responsibility, personal inventory, and do things different so you can get the results that you want? Because I promise you, if you can stop doing these things, you will have so much success with Instagram and you will find that it is so worth it and that your growth is really inevitable if you are showing up frequently, you're posting frequently, you're putting yourself out there, and you're being really clear in your messaging. That is 95% of the game on Instagram, and I hope you can make it happen.